What is the difference between a yoga for trauma class, a class that's specifically for those people who've survived trauma, either single event or multiple event traumas, and a general yoga class? Now, we know that, general yoga can be really good for trauma. So why do we make the distinction? And as a yoga teacher, what is it that we need to know about the distinction? Hello, I'm Sarai. I'm a long-time yoga teacher and a psychodynamic psychotherapist. So let's get started. In a traditional yoga class, the way that I learnt many years, decades ago now, was, it was very specific. Alignment, the way that it was done. Things are different nowadays, but still, often in a yoga class, you'll get instructions. So the teacher might say, so come to a seated position, heels under the knees, shins crossed, and shoulders back and down, lift up through the back of the spine, and lift the arms up, palms together, reaching up, come forwards, and sort of talking you through exactly what the teacher wants you to do and what the pose should look like in accordance with how that method of yoga views that posture. So the focus really is on doing the poses in a certain way and the teacher telling you how to do that. Whereas with the trauma focused yoga class, we are thinking more about the internal experience of the student. So we might say, come to a seated position, whichever position feels good for you. You might have your legs crossed, you might have one leg back, you might be kneeling. Find the position that's right for you. And I would invite you to see what it's like to reach your arms up and explore. If it doesn't feel good reaching your arms up, you can reach the arms across instead. And just being here, if that's comfortable for you, notice what's going on in your body. What does your body feel, if that's comfortable for you? And sort of exploring the somatic experiences and doing that in a safe way, giving the student the permission to come out of the pose, to change the pose, to do something different, and really being guided by the internal experience. So what we're looking for in a trauma class, for trauma yoga class, is to be giving the students the choice over their own bodies, to be taking effective action, so allowing that student to tune in to how their body feels from the inside and to be thinking for themselves, what is it that I need to do? Perhaps they're bending forwards and it doesn't quite agree with their lower back, or they just feel like doing something different, or they're being triggered. And to be able to facilitate that student to think, what do I need right now? And to be able to do it. So taking that action to change what they're doing, to leave the room if they need to get something that will help them with grounding if they're about to dissociate. So just giving that student the permission to take effective action. So these two things, choices and taking effective action, are taken away from the individual during trauma. Another thing that's specific to trauma yoga is finding your rhythm. So rhythm within yourself and within relationships. And that's partly being able to accept the experience. So being able to accept one's internal experience, perhaps accepting that bending forwards like this doesn't feel good. I'm going to bend like this instead. That feels better. So acceptance, and the teacher accepting that and giving permission. So this sort of reciprocal rhythm, human to human, also internal. The other thing that's specific to trauma yoga is being present in the moment. This is something that we find in ordinary yoga classes and is a really important feature of yoga. And just through observing the body, noticing where it might feel sort of strong, weak, stretching sensations, discomfort, comfort. Noticing all of these things is a way of being and learning to be in the moment using the body. And often we use the breath for this as well. The breath can be good, For some trauma survivors, breathing into their body is frightening. It's where the feelings are, and the feelings can be frightening. So that's something that has to be navigated. But it's all about really being in the present moment. And this is really important because it can halt dissociation and flashbacks. The other thing is to learn kindness and compassion for oneself, not just to learn it, but to practice it. And that's what we would encourage and invite in a trauma-sensitive yoga class or a yoga class for trauma. An example would be in an ordinary yoga class, okay, let's do Janu Shirshasana and reaching forwards and folding, and everyone's going down. They've got their head on their knees because they've been coming for a long time, and there's you who sort of is here and can't get your head down, or it may be a twist and everyone's sort of twisting around, or a forward bend and catching their hands. And it may be that you're competitive. Competitiveness can be good if it's not going to cause harm or injury, but it may be that you're really forcing to get these hands together, or the teacher is really trying to pull your hands together. And that's okay if it feels good in your body. It's not okay if it's sort of coming from a place of sort of aggression towards oneself and non-acceptance of, the fact that your arms might be shorter and may not be able to reach. That my arms are quite long. I always found it quite easy to get my hands bound together behind me. But other people have different proportions. So it's about sort of acceptance and kindness to oneself, and really practicing that. I hope that that's been helpful. Do send me your questions if you have questions. If you liked this, then hit the like button, subscribe, and thank you for watching. I will see you soon.